Hey guys, Mike here. Today we are setting up two side-by-side identical aquariums to serve as experimental vessels. I'll explain a little bit more later on in the video, but let's go ahead and set these things up. So here I have two 16-gallon water box aquariums. These are from their freshwater clear line of tanks. They are Starfire glass, super high clarity, and they come with a pre-glued leveling mat. So they're all ready to go. They're pretty awesome little rimless tanks. We're going to set these tanks up side by side right next to each other so we can compare whatever difference or whatever experiment we're going to be doing in them. When combined, these two tanks equal 4 feet, and so we just have a 4-foot stand here. This is an Imaginarium brand Brooklyn style aluminum or whatever lightweight metal stand that I got from Petco a long time ago. I really like these stands because I came up with a pretty cool magneted way to put a front on the tank. I'll show that here in just a second. But before we get to that, all I did was grab a piece of plywood here that fit the dimensions of the stand, put it on top, and that way everything sits super flush. And of course, after moving the tanks around a lot, we got a bunch of fingerprints on it, so I got my Fritz glass and acrylic cleaner here to clean them up and get them looking really clean. So here we have this piece that's going to be the front of the tank. It's just a super thin piece of plywood, and I have magnets on each side of the stand and the wood. Make sure they hold on really good. I do have to add a little bit of super glue, and that way everything sticks together and is super rock solid. I'll have links to everything that we're using today down in the description, so if at any point you see something you're interested in, you can go check it out. I then went ahead and painted everything black, that way it matches everything else in the fish room, and here you can see that magnet in front and kind of how that works. It's pretty nice, it's really easy to take on and off, and it conceals everything just the way I want it to be. Ta-da! The tanks are done, guys. The wall is done, except for the fact that I need to put some trim around the electrical box here to hide up my horrible routing job. But other than that, we're all ready to go. Tanks are level. We got the stand all done. Now we can focus on setting the two tanks up. But first, I want to remind you guys to get your tickets for Aqua Shella Chicago this year. I'll have the dates in front of me on the screen because I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. I know it's the end of September, but if it's anything like the Dallas show was, or even the Chicago show the year before, you're going to definitely want to get your tickets now, pre-order them, because good luck at the door. That's all I'm gonna say. Dallas, it was crazy. People were getting turned away that didn't have tickets already because there were so many people at the event. It's crazy. I'm obviously gonna be there. A ton of other fish tank YouTube people are gonna be there. It's gonna be an absolute blast, and if you're even remotely close and can make the drive, or maybe even fly if you're a die-hard fan of this hobby, then definitely go pre-order your tickets, guys. There will be a link in the description. Okay. Let's continue. Okay guys, so here I'm adding in the active substrate into both of these aquariums. We're using the Brightwell Rio Cafe Extra Fine. And again, what we're trying to do here is create two tanks that are as close to the same as possible. That way, when we do decide to run an experiment in these tanks and we change one factor or parameter about one of them, if we do start to see a difference, we know that it is that one thing that we tweaked and not some other factor that's different about the two aquariums. Once the two tanks were filled up, I then just added some Fritz guard to dechlorinate it, and then it was time to move on to the lighting. So because both of these tanks together make up 4 feet, I could just grab a 4-foot light fixture. In this case, this is just an old Phoenix 24/7 SE that I had laying around. Fits on both of them perfectly. Now let's talk about the plants, guys, because obviously we're going to be doing some experiments that involve plant growth, amongst other things. So here I just have some plants that came in from a shipment recently, and we have a lot of stems because most of the experiments that I want to do involve plant growth. So we have a variety of different plants here. We do have some foreground plants as well. The plant names will be on the screen right now. What I'm doing right now is just trying to plant both of the tanks exactly the same. So I'm just using roughly the same amount of plants in each one, trying my best to be as true to that as possible. Something to keep in mind is that the first experiment is not starting right now. What I want to do is get these tanks as established as possible to mimic what somebody's realistic aquarium would be like before we start to do any experiment at all. So a lot about these aquariums will be changing, and when that happens, both of them will change in roughly the same way. But just know that we haven't started yet. I want to get the plants grown out a little bit, switched over from immersed growth to submerged growth, and then we can really begin to start to compare once we start changing factors about each tank. So after about a week of having the plants in the tank, I noticed that the Laguigia Super Red Mini just totally melted off. The stuff we got in was not good quality at all, so we ended up having to remove that from the tank. And that's no big deal. We can always fill in some more plants a little bit later on. Once the filters arrived, it was time to then finish up the setup for these two tanks. So we're going to be using two FiltoSmart Thermo 100s that were supplied by Awaza. I filled them up with roughly the same amount of biomedia, just trying to keep everything consistent here. We're using this combination of the input and the output. I like this output a little bit better than the spray bar, but just my personal preference. Now the last thing I needed to do before it was all done was hook up CO2. So we are going to be doing some high-tech experiments, and we want to make sure our plants have everything they need to grow as best they can. So I have two 20-ounce CO2 tanks down here, the paintball type, with the mini regulators, and they're just hooked up to some Aqua Rio Neo diffusers. These are ones that I really like and I haven't had an issue with ever in the past. Currently I have them running at roughly the same amount of bubbles per second. Those CO2 bubbles are running up and kind of getting caught in the output of the filter. Not the best way to diffuse CO2 in the aquarium, guys, but this is a method that I think a lot of people use, and on smaller tanks you can get away with doing it. Now again, no experiment has started yet. We're still growing out plants. We are seeing a little bit of algae in the aquarium, not a huge deal. I ended up taking out the Scarlet Temple because it just totally melted away. I don't think it was going to end up being a good plant in this tank anyway. So a lot of the plants that we're having are kind of in between easy and difficult to grow. Nothing super crazy hard, guys, but we do want to use plants that are going to really show off how well they're doing. So a lot of plants that have reds in them, carpet plants, and things like that. So after getting all the equipment finalized, I just threw in some Fritz Turbo Start to get the bacterial cycle going, guys. None of the media that we put in the canister filters was inoculated with anything else in the fish room. We're starting completely fresh on this one, so we are going to have to wait for a complete cycle to take place, but no big deal. We're still, no experiment has started yet. We have plenty of time to get ready for it. So far, I have a list of about 6 or 7 experiments that I know I for sure want to do, but this whole thing isn't just about me, it's about you guys too. So if you have anything that is shrouded in mystery, or you think would be something that would be fun for me to look into that we could do in these two tanks, let me know down in the comments below. It's really going to be motivating to me if I know I'm doing something that's going to benefit you guys and something that's going to help solve a problem for you. Without getting into any specific details, I'm interested in lighting, PAR requirements for certain plants, nutrients and the different requirements and levels that we typically keep in a planted aquarium and if they're necessary. I'm also really interested in taking a look at some of the standard things that we use in our aquarium and seeing if those are really all they're chalked up to be. So it's going to be interesting. I don't have any high level equipment in here, so we're going to have to be, using a lot of just standard test kits and things like that. But I think we will be able to accomplish a lot with these two tanks. I'm really excited to start trying to bring some of the old science stuff back to the channel, guys. If you have been watching me for, I think, like 4 or 5 years now, you know that I started kind of down that path. That's what I went to school for. I was a microbiologist at one point in my life, and somewhere along the line, YouTube kind of got to me, and I got into this rhythm of just kind of like showing off new plants and fish and stuff like that, and kind of got away from the roots of why I got into the hobby. So I'm excited to get back into this. We're going to start doing some shorter videos as well, and just being at the mercy of the YouTube algorithm and just getting back to the content that I think is going to benefit people. If you guys have specific plants that you want to see in these aquariums, let me know down in the comments. I think I pretty much explained why I picked the plants that I picked, but it's always subject to change. The materials in this aquarium are definitely going to be changing a lot as time goes on with each experiment specifically. What I'm trying to say is the more you guys are involved in these experiments, the better. It's going to make it a little bit easier for me to kind of key out what things you guys are interested in, and I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be better for everybody. You're going to have to be a little patient with me on the first experiment. It's going to take a while to get to a point where I have some content ready to show you guys, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Just have to stay tuned, and I'll do my best to get that content out for you as soon as I can. There will be a link to all of the experiment stuff in a playlist in the description. So if you land on this video and it's like a year in the future, there should hopefully be at least a little bit of content there for you by then. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you're excited. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new, hit the notification bell and hit the like button on this video. If you're excited for this experiment stuff, it helps out the video and the channel a ton. Thanks again so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.